Buckle up.
Because it's going to be a long ride.
It's going to be a wild ride.
No one cares, but we're going to tell you anyways.
This is Popcorn Chats.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice your outfit before. You're so spooky and cute.
I put on a spooky shirt for today.
I love that.
I was in the mood for spooky vibes, so I'm excited. I'm
Me
excited for
too.
this season.
I'm excited. I feel like I should have taken an edible or like lit up a blunt for this episode because this movie was a goddamn trip, I feel like.
It really was. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Popcorn Chats. I'm Michae.
And I'm Katie.
And this week, believe it or not, ladies, gentlemen, Katie and I have never seen Hocus Pocus. I know. I'm sorry. Please don't come at us. We've watched it for the pod. But I don't know how we have gone 23 years of our lives without seeing this movie. I feel like literally everyone has seen this movie, and this is such a cult Halloween classic. So we decided to watch it for the pod and discuss with you all.
Yeah, especially as the spooky girlies that we are, it's just surprising that neither of us have seen this movie. I literally knew nothing about this movie obviously I knew of it and knew like Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker and whatever, but apart from that, like I knew nothing about the plot, went into it completely blind, and it was an experience to say the least. I'm excited to talk about it and hear your thoughts about it because it's a super popular movie and people love to watch it around this time of year. I didn't know it was a Disney movie, but I'm sure there's a ton of like Hocus Pocus merch, and you said that they're doing a eyeshadow palette, is that what you said?
With ColourPop, yeah. ColourPop had a whole Hocus Pocus collection out. And at Disney, too, at their Not So Scary Halloween party, they have a Hocus Pocus show in the middle of the party. So I did see that.
What does that consist of?
Yeah, so it's basically like the musical performance from the movie.
Oh.
But it's longer. There are fireworks with it.
Wow.
It is like just a theatrical show in front of the castle. The thing is, I saw that 2 years ago, but I saw it because everyone else that I was with had loved this movie. But I was the only one there who hadn't seen it. I don't know. I'd say the show was maybe like 15 minutes long. So they had some stuff, I'm assuming, from the movie in there, but not really like anything specific. It was pretty much just the Sanderson sisters and like miscellaneous Disney characters. Katie, how are you doing this week? Because as we know, last week was a little rougher of a week for you, but how is this new week treating you?
So far, so okay. Once again, my family is having a COVID scare, so kind of just laying low. It's really nothing. My mom and I just like have been feeling kind of under the weather. I'm fine now. Like I feel completely fine. I went for a run, but we're just like experiencing mild symptoms. I say in quotes, I guess, like stuffy nose or runny nose. We haven't been exposed to anybody that we know of that's tested positive, but we're going to get tested just to be on the safe side. But yeah, it's just kind of obnoxious because I feel like we have a COVID scare every other week at this point here. But, I think we just are trying to be cautious and safe. And it's at the point where it's like, okay, we could be overreacting, but I'd rather overreact than spread it to other people. I don't know. I just feel kind of weird and off. Like, I'm just over this whole thing, and I know like everybody is, but I just feel like we're waiting around. Like I feel like I'm literally just waiting for something to happen. And that's either going to be the world is just going to end, or we're going to like get a vaccine and everything's going to like miraculously go back to normal. I just feel like I'm waiting around.
Yeah, it is very much of just like so much unknown. I mean, there's already a lot of unknown normally, but right now it really does just feel like everything has been on pause.
I don't know, just got to make the best of it. How are you doing? How's your week treating you?
My week's, what is it? It's Wednesday. It's been going by quick, I guess, which is like a good thing. Work's just been like decently busy, so that's kind of like kept me preoccupied during the day, obviously. I don't know. It's like a fine week. Again, there's like nothing really special about it, which is kind of what like I'm starting to get frustrated with, is that like everything is just kind of fine. And not saying that I want anything bad to be happening, but I want things to be like great.
Yeah.
And I feel like adulthood is like settling for fine, and I just am starting to like have a crisis of being like, I don't want to just be fine forever.
Right.
So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like the days are going by so quickly. Like it's morning and then it's night so fast. That sounds so stupid, but like I just feel like the best, or not the best, but like our 20s, our youth, like our fun times, like it's going by so quickly and we're just sitting around again, just like waiting.
I want to go
meeting
to a
new
concert
people.
so badly.
Yeah. I
Like,
just
I
like,
just want that so bad. But again, I know obviously Katie and I are not, like, just because we're sick of it, we're not like throwing caution to the wind. We're still being
Mhm.
responsible people. But it's just, it does get frustrating. So I spend, as you guys all know, I spend pretty much all my time reading or on TikTok.
Mhm.
Okay, I haven't told Katie this. I may potentially be opening up an Etsy shop.
For your canvases?
Yeah,
Oh my
so
god! Did somebody on TikTok like say they wanted it?
yeah, so I had
That
a
is
few
so
people.
cool.
Thank you. So on my first one that I posted that got a lot of attention and is still the one that has gotten the most attention, I started like doing the rest of the books following thereafter from the Throne of Glass series. And then one that I just posted this past weekend again got like quite a bit of attention, and I had a few people commenting being like, I want to buy these, you should sell these, and I like had never really thought of doing that. But then I posted another one today and people are liking that one. So so I did order some prints of them off of Shutterfly just to like test and see how they look, because I just like took the pictures with my phone and like edited them in Lightroom and everything and cropped them myself. So just seeing how they turned out. So I think I'm going to do like a small little launch of just getting maybe like 50 prints made of a few of them and just see how that goes. Yeah, so that's like
so
at least something.
exciting.
Yeah, so that's something to at least look forward to over like the next few weeks
Yeah.
coming up here, but
Good for you.
thank you.
It's cool that like something that you've always just kind of done is like getting this much attention. You know?
Yeah, I think that's why it's like weird to me still a bit that like people would, because I look at them and I'm like, that's not like, yeah, I'm proud of them, but I also am like, that's not anything like super special. Then when I like follow all of these other artists on TikTok that I think are like genuinely really good, then I'm like, why don't you like, why mine? But I think just like I hit a niche market of like book art.
Also, by the way, guys, by the time this episode comes out, we now have a YouTube channel for Popcorn Chats where we post obviously new episodes every Monday, so you can like watch the episodes. Super cool. You can see our beautiful faces while we talk. And we also post new videos of just like us doing challenges or random vlogs or whatever every Friday. So we have our first challenge video out this past Friday, and then you can go back and watch our Antebellum episode or our Ranking Scary Movies episode, and this episode will also be on there. So
that's super exciting, everyone. We're excited about it.
Tell your friends. If I know there's a lot of people who like to watch podcasts rather than listen, so all right. Well, should we
jump in?
Miss Hocus Pocus?
What do you want to even start with?
Well, first of all, when I saw Kenny Ortega on the like initial credits, I was like, "What the actual hell?" I had no idea that he did anything in 1993. Obviously, he's like an elder man, so I should have known. Yeah, I was surprised, and I was like, oh, okay, like, that's, you know, kind of makes sense as to, like, why this is a popular movie. I think that man just, like, knows how to make a kid's movie. Yeah, just overall, I thought this movie was a straight-up trip. I was struggling to follow along. To be honest, I didn't know what people were saying more than half the time. I was just like, what was that? I thought it was over, and then it wasn't. It's still like 30 minutes left to go. That was wild. They talk about this poor boy's virginity more than Colton Underwood on The Bachelor.
I was gonna bring that up.
This is a Disney movie. Obsessed. The three sisters I love, Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy.
It was definitely a trip. I will agree with Katie on that. I did watch it with my parents because they had never seen it either.
Oh, nice.
And I did notice my mom sitting on her iPad quite frequently and my dad sitting on his phone pretty frequently. And I found myself as well playing Candy Crush a bit. I agree with Katie. Sometimes I didn't know what they were talking about. It was a little hard to follow along at first. I was like, literally, what is going on here? Also, the obsession with the virginity. I was like, what is this deal? I don't know how many times they said it was lit by a virgin. Like, okay.
And his sister being like, he's a virgin.
I know. And I'm like, girl, you're like 8 years old.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like it wouldn't have been as big of a deal if there wasn't like the love interest or whatever. Allison, I just felt like having her around, it was like, oh, he's a virgin right now, but not for long, and like he'll lose it to her someday. It was just weird. Yeah, the fact that this is a kids movie, I mean, it was made in the 90s, which I feel like still isn't that long ago, I guess. But I don't know, like for a kids movie, it does mention some like things, so we can get into that later, but I was just like, wow, okay. Should we do standout star, standout scene? Do you have those noted?
Yeah, I do have them. My standout star, I mean, the three sisters, I feel like are just kind of a given. However, Winifred, who's Bette Midler's, she was just so into the character of this, and you could just tell that she loved the theatrics of it all, and was just so down into the nitty-gritty of who Winifred was that it made it so enjoyable to watch. It almost reminded me a bit of like Jim Carrey with The Grinch, of just like the way that she totally embodied the character. So I'd say by far she was my standout star.
Yeah, she did a really good job. I was watching some behind the scenes stuff and saw her like talking to the director or like whoever in character, like still, you know, and just the voice, I feel like she had that nailed down, and the even the facial expressions and her mannerisms, it was just she had the character down. So honestly, I just wanted to shout out the kid who plays Danny, Thora Birch. I thought was a genuinely good actress. She delivered a really believable performance in a couple scenes, and I was like genuinely impressed by her. I do like Winifred, but I was more drawn to Sarah and Mary Sanderson, the other two, just because they're like comic relief and really funny. They were my standout stars for some reason. I just thought they were silly, and I don't know, I like Mary Sanderson's like facial expressions with her tongue sticking out, and I like how Sarah's promiscuous and like kind of dumb. I don't know. And I was rooting for the witches the entire time. Like I didn't want them to die. So I was like confused by that, because you're right, like with the Grinch, you're rooting for the Grinch too. And like he ends up being good in the end. So I was like, are they going to make the witches good in the end? Like, or at least the two other ones who aren't as evil. Like Winifred's kind of evil, but the other two like aren't that bad.
And even like, are they that bad?
They're really not.
I wasn't necessarily, I don't know. I wasn't like anti-witch in this movie, I guess.
Neither was I. I think as adults we like root for them, but as children we probably would have like rooted against them. So
I think they weren't really unlikable in any way. Like they didn't really have any moment where I was like, It was just all, I don't know, I really liked them.
And I think the only way they would be unlikable is if you really like the main character guy and the cat guy, and I didn't care for either of them. So
I wasn't really invested in, what was his name, Danny? Nope, Max.
No, Max, yeah, Max was annoing, honestly.
He looks like a TikToker. Like if he was around, he would be a TikToker.
Looks like Lil Huddy.
Oh, doesn't he? Maybe again because I just spent too much time on that app, but that was the first thing I saw. I'm like, give him a dangly earring and he's good to go. Standout scene for me was the musical number. I mean, by far just incredible. Definitely brought my attention back to the movie again when I had been kind of like just off in La La Land during it. But that number just sold me. Again, the dedication, the routine, it was a lot of fun. I loved seeing the crowd of all the parents and the costumes and everything. I didn't see too many cultural appropriation costumes. There were a few sprinkled in, but overall I thought, like, good job on that.
I didn't notice that at all, so good for you for noticing at least some of them.
I just watched that in Halloween episodes, mostly because I remember this one background behind the scenes of A Cinderella Story, and they were talking about the costume designers having to come up with like 80 different costumes because they're like, we can't have like two pirates because then if you see a pirate in like one shot and in the next it's gonna look like we moved them around. So they were like, the struggle of coming up with that many costume ideas. So now that's something I just always look for to see, like, are there repeating costumes?
That's really interesting.
Are there, like, I don't know.
It's funny because the first time I heard that song, I Put a Spell on You, was in the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack.
Same!
And so, like, hearing it in a kid's movie, I'm like, oh, okay.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I have to say I do like the 50 Shades
Me
version
too.
better.
so haunting.
The 50 Shades soundtrack is just...
What a
A+.
gem. Oh, God. I can't wait for February to watch those movies. My standout scene, small little scene, but I just I love when they're all about to get hung back in the 1600s and they're just joking and laughing. I don't know why, I just thought that was hilarious. That was like a good introduction to like the dynamic of the Sanderson sisters and how they're just kind of silly and quirky and laughing in the face of death. And the whole idea of like the Salem witch trials is really interesting to me. So I like that it touched on that and like that's their origin story or whatever. And how they're in this house that's like so obviously, and like the way they look, like these women are obviously witches. And then the people are like banging on their door and they're like, no witches here, we're just 3 single women living together. I died. Like, that's just so funny to me.
I'm just in a witchy mood right now. I'm reading this book called Serpent and Dove, and it's about a witch and a witch hunter who then, like, have to get married, but they, like, the witch knows that he's a witch hunter. At least I think she's a witch. I'm pretty sure she has some sort of magic where it's banned. But I was thinking about that when I was watching this, about the, like, hanging and putting him at the stake, because that's what is going on in the book all the time. And I was like, oh, and I was kind of surprised in the movie that they showed their legs dangling. I mean, like, I get it that they didn't show the full body, but for a kid's movie, I was just a little surprised that they had that and that shot stayed for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, I know that would have scared me as a kid because they do that in Pirates of the Caribbean too. Disney apparently has no problem with hanging people or talking about virginity or yabos as they refer to Allison's boobies, but apparently gay characters not allowed, so I just have questions.
I also did laugh at the scene when I liked the fish out of water aspect a lot in this movie again. I love that in cinema. I think that's a lot of fun. And when they were out trick-or-treating and they saw the little kids running around and they were kind of like looking around confused after they had gotten off the bus, and that one little angel comes in front of them and says, bless you, and bows, and they just collectively scream.
That was hilarious. And how they see the devil really and they're like, master! That is so freaking fun. Like, again, they're literally devil worshippers, but like...
And yet we root for them.
Oh my god, of course. Yeah. Like you said, the fish out of water and just how hilarious they are, like when they get to the road and they're like, a black river, and they push Sarah Jessica Parker into it and she's like, ah!
I thought there were a lot of funny moments. Yes. However, overall, like, not necessarily my favorite movie.
No, definitely not. I think The Witches had a lot of funny moments. And I also didn't really feel like there were any Halloween vibey scenes that stood out to me that made me, like, really in the mood for Halloween. And I don't know if that's just because there's no nostalgia for me attached to this film, but like that made me a little bit disappointed because I was just like not really feeling the vibes.
I agree. I kind of want to ask you, which I guess I want to get your thoughts first on. First, overall, did you like this movie?
Like is a strong word. I didn't hate it. Let's just say that.
I will agree with Katie. I liked the first time that I viewed it. I'm glad that I saw it and have watched it now. I don't foresee myself ever going back again and watching it on my own, unless if someone was like, hey, I want to sit down and watch this, I'd probably be like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But on my own, I will never seek this movie out again. And I wonder, Katie, for us, is that because we don't have the nostalgic factor on it as other people do?
Yeah, I kind of feel like it is because never watched it as a kid, like I said, and it didn't make me feel like in the Halloween spirit, I guess. And I think it's just because it's lacking that nostalgia. Because I'll watch Christmas movies for the first time and just be like, that was all right. Show me the Polar Express and I'm like, oh my god, nostalgia.
And I think that's kind of similar with what, even though in our Drunk Disney episodes, that's not like a super serious topic that we ever bring up. However, every single time that we've been watching those movies, even if they're not great, like High School Musical, we're like, now we know. It's like, yes, it's an iconic film, but like, is it the best plot-wise?
Yeah.
No. But to us, it has that nostalgic factor that is so strong that I will forever watch that movie over and over again, knowing that it is not the best film to ever be. So I think without us having that with this film, it does take away the viewing experience a bit.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. And that's why like Disney Plus is so popular, is because you can like go back and watch all those shows. If I had never seen Hannah Montana, I would not be going back. Like some of the new Disney shows, like Jessie. I'm not going to go back and rewatch Jessie, like, because I'd never really seen the majority of those episodes. So I wouldn't go on Disney Plus to watch that. However, like, I know my sister does because that's like a nostalgic show for her because she's younger than me. What movies for you make you nostalgic around this time of year?
I don't know if I really have a lot of like Halloween movies, I guess, that I watch. I know, so our episode next week with Twitches, I know Twitches will be it. Like, I loved that movie when we were younger.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really think I have nostalgic Halloween movies necessarily besides Twitches. I don't rewatch scary movies.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't even necessarily be any of those. I'm just trying to think, are there any like Disney movies that I used to watch?
Nightmare Before Christmas?
No. That one's fine. It's not my favorite.
Yeah, I didn't watch that as a kid. I didn't see that until like college, so.
No, and I don't know, kind of how when we were just saying about 50 Shades, that we're going to be covering that in February. There are certain movies that I watch at certain times of the year.
Yeah.
Like there's this movie, If I Stay, with Chloe Grace Moretz.
Oh,
that
Michaela. Wait, did we see that for the first time together in theaters?
I
think
so.
I saw that with Megan and Allie in theaters actually. But yeah, that one is nostalgic.
Like that, I always kind of watch in the fall time just because it gives me like fall vibes. I don't know, like the whole vibe of the movie kind of makes me feel fall-ish.
My God, I want to watch that. I haven't
like,
seen that since I saw it in theaters. We got to put that on our movie list.
I have it. Let's watch it together. I genuinely really like that movie a lot.
Okay, I want to see it again.
It gives me like very just like wintry day, fall, gloomy day vibes. So I think it's more like I search for movies that give me that kind of feeling, but I don't really have any like Halloween specific movies, I guess. That was a really long answer to your question, and I didn't really even give an answer. But Katie, what are yours?
Well, definitely it's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. That's like the OG. We had that on VCR and used to watch that like every time around this time of year, like a lot of times. So, and it's just nice and short, and we would pop it in before we'd go to bed when we were little. So definitely watched that and felt super nostalgic, and that just like gets me in the spooky mood. But like we were talking before with The Nightmare Before Christmas, even though I didn't see that as a kid and I don't really have the nostalgic factor with it, it has spooky vibes, if that makes sense. Like the beginning song is such a spooky vibe, and the aesthetic of that movie is just like Halloweeny to me, whereas I feel like aside from being in the witch's house and like their fashion and decor, which I loved, there wasn't a whole lot of like Halloween vibes in Hocus Pocus. I rewatched Scream 4 after our last episode. I was like, gotta see it, and that honestly is nostalgic for me. Yeah, Twitch's Halloween Town, but like just like you, I didn't watch a whole lot of Halloween movies, I guess.
I think around Christmas time there are a ton of Christmas movies that really put me in the mood, but I just don't think Halloween. I can't really think of anything.
Yeah, there are movies at Christmas time that like I have to watch. It's just weird. I'm so weird, but I'm just like you. Like in November, I like to watch The Hunger Games because that's when those were coming out. And then, yeah, in the spring, I like to watch 50 Shades. I'm just weird like that, but I totally agree with you.
Actually, I think that's super interesting. Katie, we should talk about that sometime. I mean, we could do this off the pod, but just like our different seasonal movie moods and like why we kind of do that.
Yeah.
I don't know, that could be a pod episode.
Do you do that with music too?
But
I'm just curious.
Yes.
It's so weird to me.
Yes, I have like seasonal playlists.
Same.
My summer one is always my favorite because it makes me the happiest, where falls is like very moody.
My favorite is my fall playlists are always lit. So I like go back and listen because I separate mine out by seasons too, like summer 2019, fall 2017.
Yeah.
So I can like go back to the season and like connect the season to the feeling. So like right now I'm going back and re-listening to all my fall playlists while like making one for this time of year. So freaking weird. Like I just revert back into that feeling of that time.
Yeah.
Does anyone
And
else feel this way? Like,
I know, someone tell us, are we crazy?
Michaela, also, I want you to take that 16 personalities test so that I can see if we are the same and compatible, because we've gotta be.
Also, too, I made a quarantine playlist of everything that I've really been listening, like, heavy rotation onto quarantine, because I just know that when this is done, I'm gonna want to know, like, what was I listening to for, what, a full year, pretty much, by the time... Who knows? It might even be 2 years long.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to go back and know all of the songs. And it has a lot of TikTok songs on it, too,
Yeah.
that I know are just going to be nostalgic.
God, I have the same thing from, like, the early days of quarantine. Like, when I was really anxious, my playlist is called Hard Times Quarantine Vibes. All right, we have not been talking about... I feel like we're doing a group project and we're just getting so sidetracked.
Well, because we're bringing up other things that I'm like, oh, Katie, we should talk about that.
Yeah.
But we almost need, like, a pre-pod recording, which is why when we were ever talking about doing a Patreon of us just, like, genuinely chatting, I think we could totally have that. That would just be a lot of extra work.
Yeah, not really, though. I feel like we could pull it off. It's so effortless, just us talking, because we just go so far back, and there's so much for us to talk about. Like,
no, I meant for you, like, editing. Although I guess it would probably be a lot more of, like, stream of consciousness.
I think it'd be fine. Yeah, honestly, I feel like we need this filler, because I don't think this would be a very long episode otherwise. Like, I don't really know what to say about this movie. I get why people would have nostalgia attached to it if you watched it as a kid. Mm-hmm. But I also feel like it's one of those movies where you rewatch it and it's like, oh God, like that's what they were talking about? Like Grease. Going back and rewatching Grease as an adult, it's like, oh my God, they were having sex.
One other thing that I wanted to shout out, though, that I did really like about this movie, that while, like Katie and I have said, we don't necessarily see ourselves ever really watching this movie again, it was just not necessarily our favorite.
Yeah.
The costuming and makeup and hair was incredible. Like, the witches' outfits, so good. Their makeup, awesome. The zombie guy that showed up for a while, he was really cool looking.
I liked
all
him.
The costumes. I did too. All the costumes with the parents, like, just... everything felt like very high budget on this, which I was kind of surprised about. Because as we've talked about on High School Musical, the first one, you can tell that, like, the budget was pretty low, and then it gets better and better after that. But this seems to have had a pretty decent budget, minus the special effects. But I mean, what can you expect?
Well, even those, like, I mean, it's for the 90s. It's pretty decent. It's pretty good. Like, they look like they're flying.
That I just really liked the costuming.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. I don't know. It's a Disney movie, but it's also a holiday movie, and it's interesting to me that they put so much of their budget into that. I could see them putting a big budget into a Christmas movie, but a Halloween movie is just interesting, because Sarah Jessica Parker in the 90s, like, she's, you know, big actress at that time. They probably had to pay her quite a bit. Same with the other two, Bette Midler and Kathy Najimy. Like, those aren't cheap actresses to get. And again, like, the special effects, the costuming, you're right, it did seem like it's kind of a high budget, but I don't know what their budget was, but I think Kenny Ortega is such a good director, especially with movies like this. So he, I think, uses budgets pretty well. I liked Sarah Jessica Parker's character. I know she was, like, really overly promiscuous and dumb, and, like, that's not always the best way to portray somebody, but I thought she was just funny. Like, she's, like, eating a spider at some point and, like, hanging from the gate and always, like, making a move on people, like she's making out with a guy at the party, and they're like...
the bus driver.
Yeah, like, sitting on the bus driver. I liked her, and she was just, like, a fun addition, I guess.
I think sometimes we can get, like, a little too into it and being like, why are we seeing, like, this on a woman? Where sometimes it is just, you know, it's just kind of a trope.
Yeah, and they never really, like, put her down for it, which I feel like that's not... I mean, women should be allowed to be promiscuous. It, like, you know, that should be allowed to be, like, a personality, and, like, being ditzy isn't always a bad thing. Like, she seems like a nice lady, so...
And you just see that so often when you get, like, groups in movies or in books. Like, there's always that one person, even in, like, our own friend group, you know, like, everyone kind of has, like, that one friend that it just works in this. And yeah, I enjoyed her character.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to shout out Allison's fall looks. I thought she killed it. We're talking about costuming. Obviously, it's not, like, that hard to dress a kid in the 90s, but she's killing it. I wanted all of her clothes, all of her outfits. I also wanted to go to her parents' party.
Her parents' party looked so fun.
Time. Yeah.
And I liked her costume too.
Me too. Yeah.
It was very like Elizabeth Swann-esque, but
yeah,
like more Renaissance, less pirate.
I want more of Allison's family and less of freaking Hollywood or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't like him. And also those two guys.
Yeah.
Like, I get that they were supposed to be antagonists, but I didn't care about them. And then them being locked in the cages at the end, again, I'm just like, I'm not invested in your freedom whatsoever.
And when Max left them and took his shoes, I was like, that's like not typical. That. I mean, I was like, good for you, but also I was like, that surprised me because that's not a typical Disney protagonist. Like, the typical Disney protagonist will like save the innocent or whatever, even if they were mean to them. So I was very thrown off by that. I was thrown off. Honestly, this movie did have a lot of twists and turns. Like, it wasn't as predictable as I thought it was gonna be. So, like, genuinely, they had me thinking the movie was over. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I paused it and I was like, oh, there's 30 minutes left of this bullshit. What the hell?
It was just like the kissing booth, too, when we both were so certain that the movie was over, and then we looked and it still had a full hour left.
Yeah. Oh my god. This? And when the cat gets smushed, I was like, oh my Michaela's God. Gonna be so upset, and then it just inflates again. I was like, alright, this movie is whack.
I hate when there are any sort of animals or pets and things because you just know the fate is probably never gonna be good for them. So when I saw this cat, I was like, so what we're not gonna do is have this cat die and then it gets smushed by the bus. But thank God it inflated again.
That was too funny.
And I liked how you knew, Katie.
I did. I was like,
not gonna be good with this.
Yeah.
One other miscellaneous note before we finish getting into questions was, Katie, when they did their little calming circle, I could totally see you because I could totally identify with Winifred at this moment of her just being like overworked up and really stressed out, and her two girlies behind her are just like, oh, yikes. I could just picture myself as Winifred and Katie and our friend Olivia like sitting behind me and just being like, who wants to like try to wrangle her? And then one of you two being like, we need to do a calming
ritual.
I could just totally see us having to do a calming circle.
That's so funny. All right, well, going off of what you were just talking about, I did want to know, which Sanderson sister do you think I am?
I feel like you're a mixture between... I don't know, honestly. Because for Sarah, you're like definitely a good comedic relief in our group. So I would say you have that, but I wouldn't necessarily say you're like overtly similar to Sarah otherwise, besides of like that. I would say when you want to be a leader, you can be like Winifred. I would say you don't naturally take on that role though.
Yeah.
So then I would say kind of like Mary, of being like the mutual kind of peacemaker between everyone. Like you're pretty neutral a lot of the time, of like just between the different people, but then you still have like wisecracks a lot of the time, but also you're like kind of the one who's got to keep other people in line when they need it. I don't know. I'd say you're a mixture between Mary and Sarah.
Cool.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I definitely was more drawn to those two. So yeah, I feel like you are Winifred in some cases, like, you know, when you take on leadership, like you were saying, in certain moments, or like planning things, because the girlies... Admittedly, we are not very good at planning, and Michaela's kind of like our guiding force in that regard.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah, and also like especially Allison and I, we both struggle a lot with timeliness and punctuality.
Olivia isn't necessarily timely either.
All three of us are kind of time. We struggle with that. Yeah, we're just, and I don't know if that makes you more Winifred, but I just think like Winifred is the ringleader, and Michaela is so often like, okay, we're meeting here at this time, like, make sure you have your shoes or whatever. And I'm just always the one like, I left my water bottle. I don't know.
Your fucking water bottle.
But then, yeah, like when, you know, somebody needs comedic relief or whatever, you definitely fill that role too. So I think you're a mixture. Because we live in this age of reboot culture. And this movie is so popular. It's not far-fetched to say that Disney could remake this movie with modern-day actresses. So my question is, who do you think would play the three Sanderson sisters in a reboot?
Right off the bat, I want China and McLean to play one of them. I don't care who, but she needs to be one of... Maybe she would be a good Mary, but also she could be a good ringleader. She might be a good Winifred. So maybe China and McLean. Because also she already has those Disney ties.
Yeah.
She has an amazing voice, great actress. So that might be fun.
Do you think they should make it like more of a musical? Like add in
I
a
would
couple more
prefer.
numbers? That would be fun. I think that would spice it up.
Yeah, I think... Oh, and then perfect. She's already worked with Kenny Ortega from The Descendants. I think we definitely need some more music in it, because I think the one number was not enough. That was the high point of the film, and then I felt there were other points where there were a lot of lulls. They could have used a little more pep. I don't know. Okay, so for sure China. Who would you want?
I don't know. I'm just trying to think.
I think it's hard too, because a lot of the actors that I immediately think of are more people that are like 27, 28 and up, where I'm trying to think of like maybe, although I guess they were older in that. Like they weren't necessarily young. So it could be them.
I'm thinking of like SNL people, but I don't know if they would be like the ideal fit, you know, because like they remade the Ghostbusters with them. If it's going to be a musical, then I don't think the SNL people are like the best choice.
I was gonna say Kate McKinnon would make a good Sarah.
Yeah.
But I don't know about singing. I don't know if she sings. Right. Actually, Tiffany Haddish would make a great Sarah.
Yes. Oh my god, that would be so funny.
Okay, so Tiffany Haddish is Sarah. China then doesn't really fit with that age group, but
I was gonna say China's kind of young, but maybe she could be like in it still somehow.
Okay, so
maybe she could be Max. Maybe she can be like the main character.
Okay,
I guess
I buy that.
she might be a little bit old.
Let's sub out Max. Yeah,
get him
we
out of
don't
here.
need him. Yeah, I don't know then. Okay, whatever. Let's go with Tiffany. Okay, Tiffany is Sarah.
Honestly, okay, this is a stretch, but like Lea Michele would kind of has like a witchy vibe about her. Right? Like she could look like a witch.
I'd give her Mary. She's not a Winifred.
She does kind of look like Mary a little bit. She has the same facial like expression. Okay, but you know, I don't know. She's a maybe. She's a prospect. They're considering her for the role, but she didn't get it.
She got a call back, but ultimately was not chosen.
She's problematic, so. Who else like Disney
Maybe
people?
Lucy Hale? I don't know, that might be a stretch, but maybe she could be a Mary.
She could.
Because she can sing. Her and Tiffany Haddish, I can't really picture them acting together, but I'd be intrigued.
It'd be funny if they brought back like Disney people, like Ashley Tisdale, Raven Simone. That would be so fucking fun if they brought her back. Or like Allie or AJ.
Yes. I feel like the only one that I'm really sold on is Tiffany Haddish's Sarah.
Yeah.
Like that would be hands down. I wouldn't need to consider any other options. She would be Sarah.
That would be perfect. Gosh, why is this so hard? I was really excited about this question and now I'm like, I have no idea who I would choose. I could see Melissa McCarthy being Mary too.
Oh, that'd be a good one. And I could see Melissa McCarthy and Tiffany Haddish working well together.
I feel like they can sing. Like anybody who's on SNL, they always do those like weird singing things, so they can do it. Like it doesn't have to be super good.
Do you think Maya Rudolph could sing? Because I could kind of see Maya Rudolph as being the ringleader.
She was in a musical. She was in a Christmas Story Fox musical, which was god awful, but she was in that, and she also sings on Big Mouth, so I think she could sing, and I could see her being a ringleader as well.
So okay, is that our cast then? We have as Winifred Maya Rudolph, as Sarah we have Tiffany Haddish, and as Mary we have Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, I'm confident in
cast.
that. And then Kenny Ortega directing.
And then we need a high schooler, but China can play a high schooler.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
And then her little sister. Well, I'm sure there's a young up-and-coming actress that they could choose.
That we just don't know about.
Yeah, and she could, like, this could be her breakout role, and then she just, like, skyrockets from there. Because that's the thing, too, like, the kids in this movie have gone nowhere.
And then the Frankenstein, John Mulaney.
Oh, that is perfect. I love
No
that.
one steal this. Actually,
then-
someone please steal this and make this.
Yeah, Kenny Ortega, if you're listening, make this goddamn movie. Well, all right, guys, let us know if you like that, because I feel really confident, at least about the three witches.
And John
China.
Mulaney is the Frankenstein.
And John Mulaney, yes. I think we did a good job. And just like upping the musical aspect, upping the choreo.
And also, I want to see a different ending. I want to see the witches not lose.
Yeah. I want to see them like become integrated into society somehow. Like we need them to fix climate change.
Yeah. Or like, what if then, after they save the world, then they open up like an essential oils business or something. And that's what they're doing now.
Yeah. Or they make like an apothecary place or something. Yeah. I love that. Oh my God. Yeah, they like save the world. And that's why the Virgin lights the candle, because she knows the legend. And so she like lights it to bring them back because the world needs magic.
Yeah. And how funny would it be when someone first goes to light the candle and then it won't light for them and they're like, oh shit. And then they got it passed off to someone else?
Yeah.
They missed a joke with that.
Oh, okay. This is my last question that I have. So, if you had to be turned into any animal forever and like live forever as that animal, what would it be? Zachary or Thackeray? I didn't know what his name was.
No,
and was it Banks or Binks? I don't know.
I thought it was Binks. Like Bix. Or like
Thackeray
Bi.
Binks?
Yeah. Jar Jar Binks or Jar Jar Binks.
They're related.
Okay, initial thought, I'm thinking like a golden retriever because everyone loves golden retrievers. So I would always be cared for. I would probably always have a family watching out for me. And, like, I just feel like they always live, like, they just always look happy. You know, I'm thinking about, like, my dog. Like, she just always looks happy. However, if I could have, like, the ability to just roam in the wild, maybe just a monkey, because that would be the closest thing to a human.
Yeah.
Probably a monkey or a golden retriever. What about you?
I don't know. A monkey was my initial thought too, because it'd be hard to live without opposable thumbs after having opposable thumbs for so long.
Yeah.
I feel like being a dog, you have to eat the same thing 3 times a day, every day. And I always feel bad for my dog about that. I don't know why. I feel like that would get old, especially if you're living like that forever.
I feel bad, but then Nala gets like so much miscellaneous food throughout the day. She got a puppuccino this morning. She gets cheese. Like she's fine. My mom grills her chicken.
If I could talk and like tell somebody, "Hey, give me a cheeseburger," then it would be fine. But because living as a monkey in the wild, I think I'd be lonely, and then also my habitat is being torn down, which is unfortunate, you know.
Very true.
And I'm going extinct, so like maybe if I lived at like a chimp sanctuary, that would be fun. Jane Goodall, hit me up.
I would not want to be a cat, though.
Yeah.
Because I feel like dogs are, like, higher up on the totem pole in society of pets. Katie, my miscellaneous question that I wanted to ask you was, because we see them going trick-or-treating and their different costumes, and, of course, LA, he does not want to dress up, which is fine. But, Katie, what is your favorite Halloween costume you've ever dressed up in?
Oh, well, one time, my family and I went to this Halloween party, and they were having a costume contest. And we brainstormed for like weeks in advance, like, what are we going to be to win this costume contest? And we decided to be the insurance people. So my mom was Flo, and my dad was like the Nationwide guy or something at the time, and I was the Mayhem guy. So
I love
it was really
Mayhem.
fun to get all scuffed up and stuff. And my sister was the Gecko. She was so pissed that we made her be the Gecko. But we won the competition and it was really fun.
That's really cute. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Too, because there are so many.
Yeah.
I love the commercials right now. I feel like such a traitor being like, I love the Liberty Mutual commercials, but I do the one guy on the dock who can't get his lines right. Have you seen that? And he's like, Liberty. And then he's like, what if I come out of the water? He's wearing that leather jacket. I just think he gives me a giggle every time.
And the Liberty, like, there's a lot of Liberty Mutual shirts with the Limu, Emu, and Doug. Yeah. Anyways, oh my God, how would we stop? That just goes to show how not, like, impressionable this movie was. Now we're ending this talking about insurance commercials. What was your favorite Halloween costume that you ever did?
So one year, it's not my best, but it was. I remember the time being so excited. I was Lady Gaga one year.
I remember that. That was in like middle school, right?
Yeah, I think
That
it
was
was
a good
maybe
one.
like 6th or 7th grade. It was after the paparazzi. No. Or no, the telephone music video had like recently come out where she was wrapped in the costume tape. So, of course, I wanted to go as that, but I could not go as that because one, we live in the Midwest, so it's freezing, and two, I was like 13. So, I like wrapped caution tape around a jean jacket in my jeans.
Yeah.
But I remember liking that one. And then one year I dressed as Lil Wayne. I promise there was nothing like problematic about my costume at all. I was more just like a generic rapper, but I just went with Lil Wayne because that was my favorite one at the time. And I had a lot of fun with that. But one of my all-time favorites was during homecoming week, our freshman year of high school. Me and two of our friends went as the Hannah Montana crew. So we had our blonde friend Allie, who we talk about frequently on the pod. She was Hannah Montana. Oh no, actually Megan was Hannah Montana, Allie was Lily, and then I was Oliver. I don't know why, it was just always so much fun to dress up as a guy for a day. I always had a lot of fun with that. And walking around the hallways, I just like got very into the character of it all.
I don't know why I don't remember that.
I haven't dressed up for Halloween. I dressed up last year, but before that, I have not dressed up for years. Like, I literally don't remember, besides last year, I was Rue from Euphoria. I literally don't remember a single costume before that for the longest time because I don't think I really ever dressed up.
Yeah, I've been struggling. I think my best college costume, well, I was Billie Eilish last year. That was okay. I didn't do her justice at all, and then that night was just horrible.
And Katie, so we are getting together for Halloween this year, but because we are being conscious of COVID, it's literally gonna be me and Katie hanging out. Probably her boyfriend Jack, and that'll probably be it. So Katie, do you have any plans? I know we kind of talked about Euphoria costumes. I think that's what I'm just gonna go with. Is that what you're gonna do?
I think that's what I want to do because I don't feel super excited about the idea of just like sitting in a costume all night while we're just like chilling watching movies. But I do really want like cute pictures if we can get them.
Yeah.
And so I think doing like Euphoria makeup will be really fun, and I have this fall outfit that I want to wear. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I think I'm gonna make a little like yard haunt for the neighbor kids because I have a lot of like young kids living in my parents' neighborhood right now, and I think they would love that. And I know they've just been kind of going through it with school not being in session. I know they're all kind of bored and like, but they're making the best of it, and I would like to do that for them. So I'm really excited for Halloween because I'm gonna be like making that, and then Michaela's gonna come over and we're gonna hang.
If we were going out, so I think like hopefully Halloween 2021, I think I'm gonna be a mob boss. Like that's kind of my costume that I want to plan on then.
Yeah.
But for now, no.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that idea.
And I still want to be Jeff Probst one year.
All right. This episode was half us just talking and half Hocus Pocus. So I hope you guys liked it.
I think that's just because, truly, guys, honestly, if I just have to give like one overarching thought on this movie, I'm going to say I was glad to see it, and I'm glad that I can say that I've seen it now, but I do not care to ever watch it again. And I'm sorry, I know this is a lot of people's like favorite Halloween time movie. It wasn't for me.
It's really not our fault. Like it's just because we don't have the nostalgic factor playing in our favor. I genuinely think that's the only reason why I was just kind of like, eh. Yeah. Like think if you had to go watch High School Musical for the first time right now, or any like new Disney Channel movie now that they're making for kids, like you wouldn't want to do that, you know? And this isn't necessarily the same thing. It's not a Disney Channel original movie, but it's just like we don't have that vibe with it. I feel like we're using the word vibe so much, but y'all get it. The girlies know what we're talking about. And I like, don't come at us, but I don't know. I'm glad we saw it, like you said.
Now I can at least say that I've seen it, so.
Yes. So yeah, be sure to check out the links in our description. We post new ones every week with different causes and organizations that we are thinking about right now and trying to uplift. And be sure to check us out on all of our different platforms. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Michaela on TikTok. I'm thinking about maybe getting involved in my TikTok. I want to be like a little TikTok vlogger. Have you seen those?
Do it!
I think those are so cute and fun.
I think you should.
Yeah, I want to do something. So maybe follow me on TikTok in the future, but for sure follow Michaela right now. And then we both have our own individual YouTube channels and a Popcorn Chats YouTube channel now. So If you're starved for our content, you are not in short supply because we got a lot going on.
So yeah, if you want to see like vlog type story time kind of things, check out Katie's YouTube channel and Katie's TikTok when she gets it up and running. If you want to check out any book content, that's pretty much all I do. So check out my TikTok and my YouTube. But then definitely watch out for our Popcorn Chats YouTube.
Our first video is posted on there as of right now. It is us quizzing each other and getting tipsy while we do it, and it's super fun. It's different from what you guys normally get from us on the pod, so go check it out.
Yeah.
Go vote, stay inside, stay safe.
Wear a mask.
Black lives still matter. LYLAS!
LYLAS!